Let's get started with the first most important point. To us, the most valuable asset that our private practice is responsible for is our team. Also, the most difficult part of private practice management is leading and building the team. So I'm going to share with you how to make sure that you're leveraging that valuable and important part to serve your patients better, to create a great workplace, and ultimately to also build a practice that you can be proud of. So I'm going to share real quickly a problem, a mistake that I've been making consistently. I uncovered some things last week in a conflict that we had in our team. Hopefully, what I share with you is going to prevent you from having those same problems, those same conflicts in your team at your private practice. So let me start off by telling you what happened in a private practice a little bit ago. Every now and then, I do internal surveys where I reach out to team members and ask them to rate our practice, to rate our team, to rate what's going on. And through this feedback, I do this purposely because I want to uncover what's going on. This is like spring cleaning. This is, looking underneath the rug and looking behind the curtains and going in the attic and going in the cross. We're trying to uncover everything. I don't do this all the time, but I like to do this at least once or twice a quarter just to check in with the team to see what's going on. Through this process, I uncovered some information on some people who were not happy with some things, specifically people who were not happy with other team members on the team and how they were behaving, specifically complaining. We had accusations of this person being negative every time I work with them. It's so difficult because they're complaining about this and they're complaining about that. And so we unearthed this internal conflict. My role, I feel like as office manager, as the COO of the private practices, when there is an eternal conflict, to find out what's going on and to handle the issue. Here is where I made a big, huge mistake. I went into that conflict, the two people who were having disagreements, believing that I understood what was going on. So when I asked both parties to share what happened, I was listening, but I wasn't listening at my full capacity. I was hearing what they were saying. I heard all of their words, but I was matching their words and what they were saying, and I was filtering it through what I already believed what was happening. That was the first mistake. And so because I didn't listen, or at least I didn't listen well enough, I amplified the problem by not completely hearing what everyone was saying because I already had an idea of what was going on. Do not do this. It's going to cause pain and problems in your practice. I can assure you of that. And so that was the first mistake I made. I didn't listen, and it blew the whole situation up. Things became even worse. It was more going back and forth, more issues, emails, text messages flying back and forth. The second mistake I made is whomever I was talking to, everything they said seemed very plausible because I wasn't listening. Plausible meaning they were confirming what I already believed to be true. And everything they said seemed reasonable. They didn't say anything outrageous. I could see, they would say something. I would say, I could see how that could happen. As opposed to me being objective and just receiving the feedback that they were giving, I was taking what they were saying at face value, every single word. Don't do that. I'm not saying to not listen to your team. And I'm not saying that your team is going to overtly lie to you. But we as human beings, we are influenced by our emotions. And oftentimes our emotions shade what we hear. Have you ever been in a situation where you say something to somebody and then they think you said something completely different? You know, our emotions can shade what we hear, and our emotions can shade how we perceive and experience. This has happened to me all the time, where you have a situation where you think somebody's looking at you weird or looking at you funny. And you come to find out, they didn't have their contacts in and they couldn't see. But it was, maybe I was having a bad day, so I was upset, or I didn't like my shirt, and so I thought somebody was judging me, or whatever the case may be. Our emotions shade our reality, and so what I should have been doing when I was getting this information from my team is I should have lessened some of the negative points that they were throwing out. I should have lessened some of the jabs and some of the accusations that they were throwing at other people. I shouldn't have took them wholeheartedly. So that was the second mistake I made. And the third thing that I did after making these two mistakes is I tried to turn this situation into a teachable moment. And so after digging through everything that was going on and realizing that I was not properly listening, realizing that I wasn't objectively listening when I was hearing the words, I already had my preconceived notions, and I was allowing people to influence me one way or another against someone else. I realized that whatever we do, with all of these issues, we have to make sure that we get better from it. Robert Kiyosaki has a great phrase. He says, I either win or I learn." Because this experience was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for all parties. You know, it was very frustrating. There were tears shed. There were feelings hurt. There were people who feel like their relationship may have been damaged because they heard someone else say something about them behind their back. These are real problems that had to be discussed and addressed. But as opposed to letting that situation bottle up and explode and result in somebody quitting or, something like that, to retain the team and to actually learn from it, we had to go through the tough process of having these conversations. And the overall thing that we want to do is we want to leave these conversations and make it a teachable moment, something that all parties can draw from. We talked about this in this particular moment. The teachable lesson that we learned from this situation is complaining, although it may be the path of least resistance to feeling like you're connecting to somebody, it oftentimes damages the relationship. When you're working alongside somebody and all they do is complain, whether they're complaining about their kids at home or complaining about work or complaining about a patient or complaining about the weather or complaining about their health or complaining about something, you don't look forward to going to work with that person day after day. And that was the lesson that we learned and that will have to continually be reiterated. But the lesson is complaining and negativity weakens the bonds that actually hold a team together. And so that's the three things. I didn't listen to what was being said to me. I didn't lessen the accusations that I was receiving as I was, playing the role of the mediator. And I wanted to make sure, number three, is that we turn this into a teachable lesson for our team so we can improve and get better. What I also learned was we weren't doing a good job of connecting with our team and building a trusting relationship. See, what I found was this situation was a test. It was a test of the strength and the trust of the relationship that we have with certain people on our team. And it exposed a weakness in that trust. And because we're the management, we're the owners of the practice, the lack of trust in that area is our fault. If we don't make it our fault, we don't have any power to fix it. And so what we found was there's a lack of trust in a specific area. We need to communicate more. And so we made a change, and now we're communicating more consistently on a one-on-one basis with certain members of our team, just to establish the trust, to let them know that we're on their side. We want to see them win. And we recognize that one of my old mentors used to always say that your team spells love Time. And with us having a clinic that we travel in so many different places, a lot of times we can't spend time with everybody, but we recognize that spending that time, finding time to give that time is valuable. So, we added that component in where we're now investing more time into building the relationship. So when other problems come down the road, and notice I didn't say if, when other problems come down the road, that trust is there and we're able to communicate without it becoming a full-blown conflict amongst other team members. I hope this mistake that I made, you can learn from it. When you come across something similar, make sure you listen with an open mind. Make sure you don't take all of the accusations at face value, and make sure you turn that whole situation into a teachable moment.
What other specific topics related to the business of private practice management would you like for us to cover? Please share in the comments below or reach out to us on social media or our email address, thedermbiz@gmail.com. Our mission is to create a movement of collaboration and support amongst physician-owned private practice owners. If you would like to join that movement, again, don't forget to like, share, comment, And please don't forget to subscribe.